Warning: the following episode of Orsini's Uncensored Mind contains explicit language and adult content. The thoughts and opinions stated on the show are reflective of AJ Orsini and his guests exclusively. But seriously, guys, the show's called Uncensored. If you got a problem with bad language, I really don't give a shit.
Welcome to Orsini's Uncensored Mind, and now your host, AJ Orsini.
How the hell is everybody out there? This is your boy, your main man, your jive soul brother on the ones and twos here. This is your host, AJ Orsini, and I gotta tell you guys, I may not sound 100%, but baby, I am feeling like 1,000% right now. 1,000%. Can I reach into your earphones right now and let you feel the energy and the power of what's surging through me right now? Super excited about this show. Not as excited as I will be for next week's show, but I can promise you guys I'm going to bring 1,000% tonight. For those of you who have not been following track, and shame on you, this is AJ Orsini presenting episode 55. And I am going to tell you guys right now, for those of you who didn't listen to last week's show, next week, which will be, technically speaking, Wednesday, October 10th, will be with the 1 year anniversary. Now, I started this show October 11th of last year, and this year, October 11th lands on a Thursday. So, I will not be releasing the episode in the usual Wednesday spot. I will be releasing the episode on Thursday. I don't know why. This whole thing, I'm trying to do a fucking show here, and this thing is bottling me up. What the fuck? Should I hit the pause? Nah, fuck it. Fuck it. We're going live. Fuck it. We're going live. Look, here's the deal, folks. Next week is the 1 year anniversary show, October 11th, on a Thursday. So the episode will be done on October 11th on a Thursday. Now, notice the chosen words here. I will not be posting a show on October 11th. And this is part 2 of an announcement thing that I had to let you guys know. My first announcement obviously was the free t-shirt giveaway. If you haven't heard about it, I'm doing a free t-shirt giveaway. That's right. It's my thank you to all of you for supporting me and supporting the show. All the information is on the Facebook page. It's very simple. Next week on the 11th, for the 1 year anniversary show, I'll be doing 3 drawings, picking random names from a pool of Orsini's Uncensored Minds fans that are liked on the page and have sent the message. So this is critical, folks. This is important. If you want to get in on this this contest here, this raffle, if you will, all you need to do is like the Orsini's Uncensored Mind page, send a message indicating to me that you want to be in the raffle, and then you will be put into a pool of names, and I will pull 3 names, not all at once. I'm probably going to do them sporadically throughout the show. 3 names, and you guys will win Orsini's Uncensored Mind t-shirts. That's right, for free. I am incurring the cost of all things, including the shipping, everything. I pull your name. I will contact you to get your shipping information. I will ship you a shirt. That is very simple, and it's my way of saying thank you guys for supporting the show, and hopefully you guys will continue to support the show. That was announcement number 1. Again, I'll get more into detail about that later. And of course, you can go onto the Facebook page right now and find out all the information you need on that. That was my first announcement. I made that one a few days ago. I did say that I had a second announcement, but that was going to hold off until all the wheels were put into motion and everything was solidified. And as of right now, everything is solidified. This is going to happen. I still need some more information so I can share it out to you guys. But I am in a position to make the announcement here that next week, October 11th on Thursday, I will be doing a live edition of Orsini's Uncensored Mind. It's the first time I've ever had a chance to do live podcast or radio or whatever the hell you want to call it in my career. as a host. I've done other projects with people, and I've gone on live radio, I've gone on live TV, I've gone on live pay-per-view. Luckily for me, I've been blessed in my career to have done all that. But it's never been all on me. I've always been either a part of an ensemble or assisting someone else. This is me. This is me going on the air and going live and doing all kinds of cool shit. It's the 1 year anniversary. I decided to do something extravagant. You know, I honestly believe that I would make it to 1 year. So I also didn't think I'd be in a position to do a live podcast with all the intricate workings. And here we go. It's going to be next week. We have a date. It's October 11th again. It's October 11th, 2018. It's a Thursday. And it's going to be live. I will be on the air for 2 hours. I know I have an anti-2-hour rule, but if you're going to break it, baby, you got to go big. And I wanted more time to do the show, because on that show, it won't be just me talking. I will have a co-host on that evening who will be working the boards for me, Mr. Stephen James, who was he's a lead podcaster as well. He's done radio. He's been all over the business. He has Hive Mind Radio, which you can find online, also through social media. He is a great guy. He's one of the ones I've mentioned on this show before as being a big reason as to why the show even got off the air, or on the air, I should say, is because he helped me out with a lot of that stuff, man. I was a ring announcer. I was a performer. I had never done anything with podcasting other than being guest. And he's kind of the master at all this shit. So he took me to the learning tree, showed me the deal, baby. And here we are 1 year later. So I couldn't think of a better person to include on my project than the man himself, who helped me get here in the first place. So thank you to him. And we're going to get together and put a great show for you guys next week. Also, I'm not the only one talking, and he's not the only one talking. You will get a chance to talk. That's right. You guys have been asking me quite a few times now, hey, when are you going to start taking phone calls? When are you going to start being a little bit more interactive? It's not going to be a regular thing, I don't think. Definitely won't be a regular thing starting now. Maybe down the line it could be a regular thing. I don't know. I guess we'll see how it goes next week. But next week I will be taking phone calls. You guys will be able to call in live while I'm on the show and doing the show. You guys will be able to call in, give me your questions, your comments, your whatever. Your girlfriend's pissing you off. You want to vent, go ahead and give me a call. We'll talk about it. Which is why I said at the beginning of this that there's still more information I need to get. Obviously, I have to get a link from the people who are helping me put this together. A link that I can share out to you guys to let you know exactly where you can listen to it, and a phone number to which you guys can call during that 2 hour time period. So those are like two missing components, and we've got time. I still got a few more days, and I should have it no later than either Thursday or Friday. Like Friday, the absolute latest. So I'll give you guys a couple days to get that copied up, and you guys can put that in your phones or whatever. And remind yourself, oh shit, Orsini's going to go on the air live. I better call in and talk some shit. Another piece of information you need to know about this live show is it will not be at the usual 9 o'clock time slot. The studio that I'm going to has a certain set of hours. We had to book a time slot ahead of time, which was fine, but I'm only really doing it like 10 days before. So I'm kind of behind on booking studio time like that. So I'm still doing a 2 hour block, but I won't be doing it at 9. As a matter of fact, 9 is when it will be ending. We're going to begin our show at 7 p.m., 7 to 9, as a matter of fact, is when the show will begin. And again, I'll get you guys that link and that phone number so you guys can call in, talk a bunch of shit with me, and just have the conversation. So it's going to be an all-out affair, man. That's why I said I'm super excited about this whole fucking thing, man. I have been dying for so long. You guys have no clue. I have been dying for so long to get there, to get to this point. I didn't think that I would, but it was always a lofty dream that one day it would be this big deal, and hopefully we'll see where it would take us. And that was always kind of how it started. So here we are, 15 countries, 2,000 downloads, 2,100, I should say. Excuse me. My numbers are growing faster than I can remember, but yeah. So, you know, we're in that area, and then now we're doing the live show. We're doing calls. I got interviews coming down the line that are just I don't know. I've gotten very fortunate recently. You know, I got people coming on this show coming out that I'm making plans with that it's out of control right now. It's out of control. This show is getting far more attention than I thought that it would, but I'm super excited about that. And I thank you guys for taking the ride with me. I'm not going to kill you guys with all this 1 year anniversary shit. As a matter of fact, that's the end of it. I'll repeat all this shit again real quick, cliff notes at the end to remind you guys. But I know you guys didn't download this episode to hear. You didn't download this week's episode to hear all about next week's episode. That would be redundant and ridiculous. I'm not going to do that to you. But we are going to talk some pro wrestling tonight because there's a lot of stuff we got to do. I say it every week, and I'm going to say it again. There's a lot of stuff we got to get to. It's becoming a punchline. That needs to be my next shirt design, if anything. By the way, yes, I know we're doing the raffle, but if you're interested in checking out what the shirt looks like before you enter, prowrestlingtees.com/AJOUM. That is the link for my t-shirt. You can take a look at that, see how it looks. It's pretty sexy. Gray tee, feels great. Wore it all day yesterday, as a matter of fact. Big fat logo in the front. Super dope. It's going to be real sexy. I mean, the bitches will come running. You know, the fellas too. Fellas, listen, ladies, there's lady tee versions of this shirt. You can get yourself a lady t-shirt. And then that will be your version of a milkshake. And you know what happens when ladies bring their milkshakes out to the yard. Yeah. The sun melts them down and it starts to stink and it attracts dogs. Also, guys will come. And if you're into that sort of thing, then this is the t-shirt for you. I just did the ad now. I'm supposed to be doing the ad later. But you know what now? I'm not going to do the ad later now. That was my ad for the shirt. There you go. I got a whole list of shit in front of me right now. And I'm trying to whistle my way through it to see what the hell I'm going to actually start with because there's so many things that anger me on this thing. And I think that's the best kind of radio that you guys want to listen to, me angry. I'm starting to believe that that's it. That's the secret sauce. Well, here's something that's going to make my brother fucking upset. If you guys didn't listen to the Brothers of O episode, you won't know why. See, you got to download these episodes and keep up. But there was some big news coming down the pike, something definitely we have to talk about here, and I definitely want to... I'm going to start off with this because I think it's an easier conversation to start with. Mr. 619 himself, Rey Mysterio, or as he was known on the Indies, Rey Mysterio Jr., has signed a 2-year deal to return to WWE. There was some big-time negotiations that took place. I don't blame them, either side. If you're not aware, Rey Mysterio's contract situation was a huge deal back when in the original contract. It was a big fucking mess. Rey was hurt, and they held it against him, and then he was sitting out, and he thought his contract was going to come to an end soon, but really it wasn't because they froze it because of his injury. So he came back from injury and had to force another year. It was just a big ordeal. It left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, and Rey was unhappy, and management everybody was unhappy, which is the point. Everybody was unfucking happy, and they split amicably, but with gritted teeth. You know, it's not exactly, it wasn't exactly a consensual breakup. You know, it's just the situation was what the situation was. And then, you know, to be honest with you, the WWE has been kind of on a crusade to replace him ever since. And it kind of really hasn't worked out. The Alberto Del Rio situation, the Sin Cara situation, there's been a litany of guys they've tried to bring in to try to get, quote-unquote, that Latino vote, I guess you can say. And it just, they're not Rey Mysterio. He is exceptional. He's one of the greatest. You know, Rey's out of the lucha category as far as I'm concerned. I mean, he's one of those exceptions to the rules. He's not just one of the greatest lucha wrestlers of all time, lucha libre performers. He's one of the greatest performers, literally, of all time. He has to be in the conversation of one of the greats. Considering what he's done at his stature for as long as he's done it, I mean, it would just... It's ridiculous to even believe that he's not in that conversation. Is he? I don't think so. But, I mean, he's got to be at least considered for the big boy table. He really does. He's done so much. I mean, heavyweight titles, championships from around the world, a main event draw in every country he's literally ever been, a main event draw in every company he's ever been. I mean, for Christ's sake, there's just so much on the resume there. And you have to crack down the idea that now they're sitting here at the table discussing a contract. after everything I just told you about how disgusting everything went down and how bad it was and how, disrespected each party felt during the course of this entire negotiation. So now they're sitting at the table and discussing a deal. Now, from what I understand, I believe from what I heard, Rey, I don't know if Rey wanted an additional year or a 1-year deal. I'm not entirely sure. All I know is that the WWE was the one who landed on the 2-year deal. And I'm going to assume that's the works. It's the 2-year deal with, with the house shows and the merch percentage and all that stuff that you have to break down. I don't think Rey is a permanent fixture in the WWE, but one of the biggest reasons I think everything really fell apart is they were running him into the ground. I think they've realized now how to use a Rey Mysterio. I would hope. It would seem like a gigantic waste of time if they did not. But I think based on the reaction he's gotten, I think people are excited. I think he's in the best shape of his life right now. Literally, I mean, he's about as jacked as I've ever seen a person his height be. Hopefully it's all natural. I hope he doesn't come back on the Del Rio diet. That would be bad because that's a recipe for disaster. I mean, the guy's broken everything on his body. He's got knee braces up the wazoo. So I think the biggest key to Rey's success right now is dates. How many dates is he working? Because if he's going to go all out and perform the way that he performs, he can't go that many dates. They're going to have to be really particular when they use him and when they don't. So I'm wishing him the best. I hope everything works out, man. But I really don't want to be in the building that day when his knee finally goes, man. Because when he goes, man, forget it. That is going to be a disgusting sight. When he finally breaks down, man, that is going to be a terrible, terrible sight. But congrats to him. I'm glad to see that he's back, and I hope he can show some of these young boys how to do it, man. Entertain the hell out of them, lucha style. Got some dream matches in there. I'd love to see, man. Even some of the bigger ones. Like even a Seth Rollins Rey Mysterio match would be off the hook. Yeah. See, this is not cooperating with me. It's getting me upset. I really hope this doesn't this is a bad omen. This is some bad juju right here. I really hope this shit doesn't happen next week. I really want next week to go smoothly as fucking possible, man. I really do. I'm really super excited about fucking next week, so I hope this works out. Anywho, let's move this down because I'm not going to keep fucking with you. There's another item on the docket here we got to talk about here. October 16th, which is going to be just a few days, actually about 5 days after the live episode. Not this Tuesday, but the following Tuesday. Smackdown hits his 1000th episode. So many great Smackdown memories. I can assume they're going to try to go all out for this one like they did for the Raw one. But I get this feeling in the pit of my gut like they're really not. I don't really feel like they're going all out like they did for Raw 1000. This feels kind of thrown together. They've announced some surprises and some returns. Michelle McCool is coming back for, I don't know, whatever reason. Tori Wilson's coming back for whatever reason. They announced an Evolution reunion for SmackDown. I'm trying so hard to figure out why. I mean, no, literally why. Well, there's no SmackDown tie-in. Evolution ran crazy on Raw. There's Triple H is never on SmackDown now, so I don't know how that's progressing anything. Batista's been begging for forever to get a shot to come back and do something. I'm sure appearance on SmackDown isn't going to be all that enlightening, even though Batista was a pretty big SmackDown guy back in the day. I don't see why that's the reason. Flair, forget it. And Randy's on the SmackDown brand, but how is being a part of Evolution improving anything? I don't understand. Where do we go with this? What is the point of this? I don't really get it. I mean, I think personally, I think SmackDown has been completely fucking sabotaged. I really do believe that. I do believe that when the brand, it's funny because when the original brand split happened, it felt like SmackDown was the better show. I mean, we're talking about the Heyman versus Steph. Was it Steph? No, Heyman versus. Was it Steph? No, it wasn't Steph. Steph was on SmackDown. I forgot who the head writer was over in Raw. I don't remember. But it was like, we're talking about a SmackDown era with Edge and Angle and Shelton Benjamin and Rey Mysterio and Chris Benoit. And Eddie Guerrero. It was a roster just top to bottom. It was just dope. And SmackDown was the better show. And I just felt like over time, they just really went out of the way to sabotage it to make sure Raw ended up being the better brand. And now here we are, fast forward. And I can give you examples of brand splits where it happened before. But let's stick to the present here and talk about the stuff that just recently happened. I just feel like they're really sabotaging SmackDown. Like every time SmackDown starts to get like a little ahead, all of a sudden, something comes along, a trade or a resignation or a change in management or whatever the case may be, and the booking just changes all of a sudden. All of a sudden, look at I just named you a couple of the surprises happening on SmackDown. Who the fuck is that drawing? Whose attention are you grabbing with Michelle McCool and Tori Wilson and Evolution? I don't understand. I don't get why. I don't get why any of this. When we did the Raw 1000 episode, there were a lot of segments and there were a lot of talent that returned. Okay, that it made sense because it was Raw. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, Raw has that rich history. Technically speaking, does this not also have a rich history? SmackDown has officially hit 1,000 episodes. That should give you the inclination that it's almost the same, correct? It's the same. You're celebrating the same number. You've put in the same amount of work. It's 1,000 episodes. So I don't understand. Look, I actually have it right in front of me right now. Evolution reunite. Randy Orton, Triple H, Ric Flair, Batista. Why does it say? Never mind. Batista. Right? Okay, we just spoke about that. Double main event. Now, originally, this was not a double main event. Or should I say this first match was not a tag team match. They have WWE Champion AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan versus Samoa Joe and The Miz. Okay. Cool. Charlotte Flair, Asuka, and Naomi versus the Women's Champion Becky Lynch and the Iconics. That's a pretty okay matchup. The Iconics, again, I spoke about them last week. I'm not impressed with anything that they've done. Not even a little bit. They're not bad. They're good. But what the hell is the point? I'm going to be honest with you, and I said it last week too. I didn't like him in NXT. I like him even less now because they're doing even less. At least before they were getting TV time. See your favorite WWE superstars, including The Undertaker, which is a surprise. He's going to be on SmackDown, okay? With Evolution there, so you can see where this is headed. Now I'm starting to see the picture here with Evolution. Taker's going to be there. I didn't know that. United States Champion Shinsuke Nakamura. Yeah, well, he has to be there, does he not? Tag Team Champions The New Day. Again, that's where they work. Michelle McCool. Tori Wilson, I noticed I mentioned those. Teddy Long makes sense. And Vicky Guerrero makes sense. Those two will be coming back. Isn't it sad, though, the two best people that I just said were GMs for fucking SmackDown? That's the best you can do for SmackDown. There are a lot of superstars that you can bring back that personify SmackDown, especially over the long-term success of the show. This is also supposed to be the show, and I don't want to double back, but also supposed to be the show where Rey Mysterio is projected to make his return. That makes sense, especially if they're going to leave him on the SmackDown brand, which would be smart. He's kind of synonymous with it. You know how I'd love to see him come back for this? And I don't know why he hasn't been announced. I don't know if he's busy or whatever the case may be. You want to talk about a personification of SmackDown. I know for most people, they think of The Rock. And if he showed up, it'd be cool, I guess. It's named after him. But Edge. I need Edge at this show. He's like Mr. SmackDown. This guy he's been waving the SmackDown banner for fucking years. So I'd love to see his ass at this fucking show and representing. Maybe a cutting edge segment. That'd be pretty cool. SmackDown. Can we think of some SmackDown guys that we'd love to see come back? Why is it, I was just going to say, I don't think he spent too much time there either. SmackDown, when you think of Raw, like everybody has Raw moments. SmackDown does have significantly less when you think about it, but again, I think that's by design. I know we have two shows. I don't think they really consider SmackDown that big a deal. And now with the Fox deal coming up, I wonder if that changes. For all those superstars who kind of ixnay going to the blue brand, got to stay on Raw, got to stay sharp. You got a champion like AJ Styles there. We've already discussed what they're doing with that championship. So I don't know. They're doing a lot of crazy shit with the SmackDown. I know that I know I'm sounding like a negative Nancy about this, but there's not really much here. It doesn't feel like a big deal. I know they're going to label it 1,000 episodes. And maybe when the show airs, who knows, right? There'll be some surprises they didn't even announce, and we'll see what happens. But based on everything that's been announced, it's just another show. It's just another show with Evolution on it. That's it. That's like the one major thing, Evolution. The main event itself is going to be an okay match. AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, Samoa Joe, and The Miz. I would be stunned if it's an actual match. Probably just going to do more storytelling with it. Joe may leave, Miz out to dry or some stupid shit. It won't be straight up, I'll tell you that. It will not be straight up. SmackDown 1000. Not looking forward to that one. But we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Okay, now I spoke about this already. Let's click that. There you go. Hey guys, did you guys know? Ooh, that sounded like one of the commercials, right? I gassed you. You guys feel foolish now, don't you? Man, I'm so predictable. I unpredictalize myself. Is that a word? Could be. For a small nominal fee, it could be a word. Did you guys know that somebody made a big return this week? Oh, yes. A big return. A mighty return. See what I did there? Mighty. Huh? You see that? Neville. That's right. Well, I can't call him Neville now, right? Because he's not Neville anymore. He's back to his original name. He is back to being Pac. And once his contract expired, a lot of speculation as to where he was going to wind up. People thought he'd be at All In, which was ridiculous. The guy had just been released like a few days ago. There's no way he was being booked on that. They thought he would wind up in All In. The big one, they thought he'd wind up in New Japan. But Pac has a big history with a company in Japan, not named New Japan. It's actually named Dragon Gate. And that is where he made his appearance. Let's read this real quick here. Neville made his first pro wrestling appearance since quitting WWE last year at today's Dragon Gate event in Japan. Neville, using his old name Pac, joined the RED, it's dotted, so I don't want to say Red, but Red stable, as Aida's mystery partner at day one on Gate of Victory event. The event was called Gate of Victory. And Pac is back. He's back in Dragon Gate. There you go. This pic here. He made the statement online that Dragon Gate's always felt kind of like a home to him. He was very comfortable in Dragon Gate, and now he's back. He could have went to New Japan. I'm sure he could have went anywhere he wanted, and I'm sure a lot of people did expect him to go to New Japan. It's the big company over there, and but he's loyal to the people that are loyal to him. Man, you got to respect that. And he is back in Dragon Gate. So now you have to kind of ask yourself the question, let's just ask the question. What was the problem? What was the problem? How did we get here? How is Pac one of the most talented in-ring performers maybe ever? If you really think about his freakish athleticism. I'm talking about just straight up athlete here in wrestling. Pac's name's going to be up there with some of the greats as far as his athleticism goes. And he was a company guy, and he did his thing in the WWE. How did it unravel so damn fast? What went wrong? Well, if you listen to people around the net, if you listen to people on the interwebs, they'll tell you a million stories, all of which I'm sure are incorrect or just stretched beyond all recognition. But from the man himself and the little tidbits that we've gotten over time, if you just take to list a little bit of what he's been, inching at and kind of hinting at, the overall feel is that he was just unhappy in his position. Now, he was the Cruiserweight champion for like forever. Okay, he had that Nice WrestleMania match with Aries for the Cruiserweight Championship. And I know people are going to say, well, he lost to Enzo. He lost the championship. And to be honest with you, as a professional, I don't see that being the deal. I don't think he sat there and said, we're losing to Enzo's bullshit. It's gone too far. I think it's an overall package. I don't think the Enzo situation helped. I think it's an overall package. I think the fact that he was even in the Cruiserweight to begin with probably irked the shit out of him, because you got to take everything into effect here, not just his current position, but how he feels as a human being. Because someone like, for instance, Finn Balor, right? Finn Balor is not the biggest guy, and he's in the heavyweight division, and Neville isn't. And the fact is, and this is a fact, Finn Balor got hired based on the feud with Pac. That's how he got hired. Pac showed him the videos and the footage and really pushed for Finn to get a look. And when he got that look, he took it and he ran the ball. He ran that ball right into the end zone, and Finn Balor deserves all the credit for that. But the fact of the matter is you got hired based off of our work together. So how the fuck did you debut on the main roster and win the Universal fucking title, and I can't beat Enzo Amore? That's not a good situation to be in. That's why I'm saying losing to Enzo wasn't the fucking end of all things. I think it's a combination of multiple things, and then the Enzo thing didn't really help. That might have been the straw that broke the camel's back. That was probably the moment where he just said to himself, what the fuck is this? Because no matter how many times he would gain momentum, he would just run right back into the same brick wall. You know, in NXT, he had this great run. He was untouchable. He gets on the main roster. He's too small to do this. He's too small to do that. They had him getting into the ring with big guys who were willing to bump for him. Mark Henry did the job for him. Wanted to put the kid over. Guys give him the rub and all these different things. And every time he would get momentum, they'd just handcuff him again. And they handcuff him again. Then they put him in the Cruiserweight division. And I'm sure he wasn't happy about that. But they did give him the chance to be the leader of the Cruiserweight division and have him be the champion and turn heel and do all this stuff creatively that he wants to do. And I'm sure for a little while he got juiced. He said, you know what? I'm going to make this work. I'm going to make this work. I'm going to take this chicken shit they keep handing me, and I'm going to make chicken salad out of that bitch. And he did. He gave him good eats for a long while. And he probably figured in his head, Jesus, this is the best run I've ever had. This heel run, King Neville, this whole thing he's been doing with the championship has been amazing. This is it. I've won them, okay? I'm selling merch. All the criteria that you would assume that a person is being graded on the WWE, he's excelling, right? He's having the best matches. He's doing great promo work. He's selling merchandise. He's making these promotional appearances. He's doing everything he's asked to do. And he can't beat the guy who is, who couldn't wrestle his way out of a fucking sweater. I can't beat that guy. I beat every other wrestler on the planet, including one of your best here at WrestleMania, but I can't beat Enzo. And then we're right back. And now Enzo wins the belt. He says, cool, so we're going to run some rematches. No, we're not going to run any rematches. Yeah, he's going against Rin Swan next. What can you do? Well, can I get out of the Cruiserweight division? No, we don't really have plans for you for that. We're going to keep you here. Listen, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Happiness is important, folks. Happiness is important. The money, when you have an opportunity to make good money, yes, you should do it. You should do everything you can to put yourself in a comfortable position. But I cannot fault a guy for not wanting to surrender his happiness, his sanity for the paycheck. I can't blame a guy for that. And he didn't want to do that. And he felt so strongly in his convictions. He hasn't wrestled a match since the latter end of 2017. He's been on the bench for forever. Not on WWE programming. Not wrestling on any shows. He's just been home. That's it. Taking a much-needed vacation. I don't blame the guy. As a matter of fact, his next scheduled return to Dragon Gate is on November 6th. Which is, not too about a month and change from now. So he's back. He had the one match and he's going back on hiatus unless he takes other books. We're not going to see him for a while again, and that's good. Maybe less is more for him, and it keeps the intrigue factor there. So that's pretty good from him. But listen, I can't fault the guy for that. I also can't fault him for not going to New Japan, which seems to be the new it thing right now for people. Is like, well, I was just assuming he was going to go to New Japan. That's what I thought was going to happen. Jesus, not everybody has to go to fucking New Japan, guys. Not everybody has to go to the WWE. I've conceded to that. You know, those are the two places that you make the most money, so I would go if asked. If asked, I would go. But I won't be asked anytime soon, I'm sure. Speaking of Japan, let's stay in Japan for a little bit. Okay? Pac debuted, returned, I should say, with Dragon Gate. Didn't go to New Japan. You know who is in New Japan? Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is in New Japan. And he just won the IWGP United States Championship against Juice Robinson at tonight's, not tonight, excuse me. I was reading, so I said it. It's the dumbest thing. But Cody has won the IWGP United States Championship. He is also the current holder of the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. So this man is glistening in gold, man. He's got one of the baddest girls in the game. He's got all the belts. He's got all the attention. He's got the Bullet Club. The guy's on fucking fire. I said it on social media. I'll say it on the show. He's on fucking fire. This guy is doing all the right things. And for everybody who keeps saying, wow, WWE really dropped the ball with this guy, for the record, they really didn't. They really didn't. Let's talk about this for a minute. Let's get into this. Okay, let's really think about this for a second. I don't really think they dropped the ball with Cody Rhodes. Because to be honest with you, Cody came up in the system. He came up in the system. And while he has his own ideas, and he knows the difference between right things to do and wrong things to do, he came up in the system, which means, regardless of how he felt, he was just going to eat that shit and do whatever it is that he was going to do. He really didn't have an opportunity to show them what they can do. And to be honest, because he didn't have that opportunity, he didn't know. I'm sure he thought he had the potential to do more, but I don't think he ever envisioned he would have this kind of success. I don't really think he's believed that. As a matter of fact, we've been seeing some interviews recently. Well, not even recently. One that I'm going to talk about right now, it's actually a little older. He did an interview with Sam Roberts, discussing his departure from the WWE, in which Cody told a story of one of the last nights that he was on the tour with WWE. And as a matter of fact, the story that he told is he was in a locker room in Greensboro, North Carolina, where his daddy and Flair and Harley Race and all those greats from back in the day had, put their boots on and changed and did all these different things. And he felt like he was on hallowed ground. And here he is looking into his bag. And in his words, he said, now I got to go in there and put this garbage bag on and go out there in front of a bunch of people and perform. And he said in the story, he said, I looked at the management guy and I told him, there's no way I'm wearing that fucking suit. I don't want to fucking wear it. Now in his own words, he said, about 20 minutes later, I had that fucker on, but that's not the point. He was feeling it at that point, but he still did it. He still did it because that's what the system does. It brainwashes you. It just makes you collapse under the pressure and you just submit and bend the knee to their will. So don't tell me that WWE dropped the ball on him because that's bullshit. They didn't drop the ball on him. They had him assessed perfectly because that's what he was at the time. Now, everybody used to give Cody Rhodes credit, including myself and including Mrs. O on this show. We loved Cody Rhodes in the WWE because he had a passion to do what he did. Every time I'd give him a gimmick, a different variation, a different spin, a different twist, he took it, he ran with it, he committed, he was great at that. But we do know that this current gimmick that he's running right now was something that he did pitch in the WWE. They just didn't think he can do it. And to be honest with you, I don't think he knew either because when he first came out on the scene, he was just trying to find it, man. But now he's got it. 2018, right here, right toward the end of this, he has got it. He's got momentum like nobody's fucking business. All In was a great show. He's the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. He can cross that off the bucket list. He just won a championship in New Japan, the IWGP United States Championship, and he had a very, very good point. A very, very good point. He had a point when he said what he said during his post interview. And I need you to listen to this. I'm going to play it. I don't even know if I'm allowed to play it, but I'm going to play it because I think it gets really interesting. Hear the passion in this guy's voice, please. Listen to this, please.
Catch my breath. Oh. Well, let's get serious, right? Let's get serious. This right here, it means the world to New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's their brand new title. They wanted to carry a legacy, a lineage. They wanted to have a heritage that matters. So let me speak on heritage. Juice Robinson is one of what the NXT Performance Center people call Dusty's kid. Well, guess what? I'm his actual goddamn kid, and this title belongs to me. If you didn't think it was personal, it was very personal. For every person that said Juice Robinson was improving, that he had become some promo master. If you're talking about Dusty Rhodes and not me, you're doing it wrong. You're lazy because you should be talking about me. I brought each and every one of you all in single-handedly, and I'm a dual champion because of it. I gotta calm down.
In this situation, I think it's warranted. This is anger management right here.
Have a seat.
Have a seat. Look at his wife. First of all, his wife is amazing. He's got two of the most prestigious championships in the world sitting on a table in front of him, and he's just shooting a goddamn promo from the hip. This guy is fucking winning on all levels. He may not be having the type of matches everybody wants out of an indie guy, but you know what? He's having matches that make sense. He's working smart and not hard. He's winning belts. He's making money. He's got one of the baddest chicks in the game. I'm sorry, he does. Brandy's amazing. And he is just winning on all fucking levels. I wanted to hit on something that he said. Just real quick before we change the subject. He is, what did he say? He said, Juice Robinson is what the people over at the NXT Performance Center call Dusty's kid. Well, guess what? I am his actual fucking kid. That struck a chord for two reasons. One, the Dusty's Kid label. Juice did have that label attached to him, but there were quite a few people at the Performance Center at that time because he was helping people very, very hands-on with a lot of people. A lot of them were very, very close to him. And I know Cody was very, very close to his dad, and I think sometimes there's a little piece of him that it really drives him nuts that people just assumed just because he was a Rhodes that he was okay at best, but he'll never be his dad. And as time is progressing, and who knows, he may never surpass his dad. But this idea that Cody is just Cody, he's just another guy who just happens to be getting hot at the right time. He's got the Bullet Club. It's easy for him. Nothing's easy for this guy at all. You know, when you're the son of someone like Dusty Rhodes, and you can ask Dustin about that. You can ask Goldust. It ain't easy living underneath a shadow that fucking large. It isn't. Every fucking thing you do, you did it because your dad helped you or your dad's name or whatever the case may be. Juice Robinson may have been labeled Dusty's kid at the Performance Center, but nobody genuinely looked at him as Dusty's kid. Like it was some sort of role that he had when he was so close. It was almost like a pseudo Runnels just running around. Cody is his actual kid. Cody's had to live with that shadow for forever, not Juice. Juice, listen, when he was in the NXT, he was okay. He was not bad. He had a good look. He was a consistent performer. The stuff he's doing now in New Japan is great. He has improved. Cody said in the interview, for all the people saying he's improved, well, he has improved greatly. Juice has become exactly what he was hoping he'd get the chance to be, and he's having a great time. He's not Cody Rhodes. Cody is on fucking fire right now. Fire. There are very few people in this industry right now that are touching him in any direction. Very few. And that's including the WWE. I don't think there's a lot of people in the WWE that are as successful right now as Cody Rhodes. He is doing it on a big, big level. And there's a lot of people out there who are going to hear that. And they're going to say, nah, fuck that. This guy doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. That's fine. You're free to disagree with anything I say. But I'm telling you right now, for my money, if I'm booking a show and I have an opportunity to pick any person on the planet to headline my card, he'd have to be a strong fucking consideration because the guy just draws. He just does. People pay to see what he's going to do. People pay to see what he's going to say. He is a player. He has become that. He has ascended. It's exactly what he was hoping to get out of this whole release thing, leaving the WWE, getting a chance to show. Again, I'll repeat, he didn't know he can do this right away. He had to prove it to himself. Well, once he proved it to himself, that's it. He proved it to everybody else. All right, Cody Rhodes right now on top of the world. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And I wish him the best of luck as well. I know you guys hear me say that all the time, but I do wish him the best of luck. And whatever happens between him and the Bullet Club and WWE or whatever the case may be, you know, me personally, I'm not a big fan of the Bullet Club. I'm kind of over it. I'd love to see these guys split off and do different things. That doesn't necessarily mean the WWE, but if it does, it does. You know, if he went back to the WWE now, forget it. Forget it. If he went back to the WWE now, man, it would just it would probably undo literally everything that he's done in the past year or two. Like it would almost be like they purposely went out of their way to undo literally all of it. So I would be very cautious when talking to the WWE because again, it's not about the money. I would want to know exactly what the plans are. Where are we headed? Who's in charge of my shit? Who do I talk to for the for the stories and finishes and yada yada? Like I would have to work out all the details if I was him, because I would be scared to fucking. I would be scared to fucking death. Scared to death. I got another topic here I need to talk about, and this is kind of beating a dead horse. I know. It's kind of beating a dead horse. I get it, but we're gonna talk about this shit because by God, I need to talk about this shit. I absolutely do. There was a tweet put out by Daniel Bryan. Mr. Yes Man himself put out a tweet concerning his wife. Now, before I read this tweet, I just want it known for the record that I think it's awesome that Daniel Bryan has even said anything. Because the one person, if you had to tell me between the two, who's the first who's going to comment on this situation, Brie Bella or Daniel Bryan, I probably would have said Brie Bella, which she kind of did. She kind of said something about, you're not wanting to hurt anybody, yada, yada, yada. But I mean address. Not only address what happened in the ring, but what's been happening outside of the ring. And she did not. She kept it profesh, and she kept her tweet specifically to what took place. And that was and her intentions, and that's about it. Smart play, smart move, business-wise. Her husband did not follow that protocol. However, I think he handled it like a real boss. Allow me to read the tweet. I'm going to read it straight through, and then I will comment. Bryan tweeted, "I am proud of how strong my wife is. After accidentally injuring Liv Morgan last week, the first time Brie's ever hurt another performer, she's been subject to a constant barrage of social media attacks. Almost every wrestler has accidentally hurt someone, but rarely do you see this kind of hate when it happens. For example, I concussed Randy Orton in 2012 after hitting him with what was supposed to be a chair to the back. Unfortunately, part of the side hit him in the back of the head, and he was forced to miss a pay-per-view. In 2009, in our last match against each other, I concussed Nigel McGuinness after doing a dive into the crowd, where his head hit the floor. And there were others. As for the yes kicks, 2 weeks ago, I accidentally kicked Andrade directly in the head due to a miscommunication on my part. I feel fortunate that he was okay, because there are few feelings worse than hurting someone. Despite all of that, never did I receive the backlash Brie did this week. With all the negative things said about my wife, nobody was harder on her than she was on herself. Thank you to the many people who reached out to support her, both publicly and privately. We all wish Liv Morgan a speedy recovery. #end cyberbullying." Those were the comments made by Daniel Bryan himself concerning the situation with his wife. For those of you who do not know, I will just recap real quick in stating that about a week ago, there was a 6-woman tag match, Natalya and the Bellas against the Riot Squad, in which Brie Bella was doing the yes kick routine and accidentally kicked Liv square in the face and knocked her completely loopy, knocked her out, gave her the concussion, the whole deal. And the match went on, at which point Liv was taken from the match and turned into a 3-on-2, in which case the Riot Squad, still walked away with the victory, and that's how that ended. And the barrage that he's referring to is the constant. And this is not just a Brie Bella situation. This is an every fucking body, everywhere problem now. Where people just get on their Twitter, on their phone, and then they get on their laptops or whatever the fuck they use. They get on the toilet. They go for their number 2, and they pull the old Instagram out or the Twitter or the Facebook or whatever, and they just start typing the most fucked up bullshit they can literally think of, and then they hit send, and they go about their life. And for that one person, that's just one comment. But to a person receiving it from thousands of people, that's about 6, 7, 8,000 comments. And those fuckers add up. And I'm not one to sit here and cry over fucking tweets myself. But I can understand when people do feel some type of way about receiving those messages. I already spoke about the Brie Bella Liv situation. I explained in great detail already once how that spot went wrong, why that spot went wrong, and who was at fault for that spot. You didn't hear the conversation? Check it out, episode 54, and you can get all that information that I stated then. I'm not going to repeat that. The reason why I'm bringing this back up is this tweet, to me, is just more it's more proof and it's more evidence that people just don't know what they're talking about. I said it last week. I said it on social media. I left the status. If anyone on your social media is blaming Brie or destroying Brie for what happened, they don't know what they're talking about. And of course, everyone took offense because you can't tell people who are stupid that they're stupid. They act stupid when you tell them that they're stupid. They don't want to hear that they're stupid for stupid reasons. Okay? If you can follow that, then follow this. People don't like being told they're wrong. Okay? Because for some reason, we live in a world where opinions are supposed to be facts. They're not. The biggest problem in this current situation, and it's happened before. Fans are confusing like and dislike with credible fact. That's what continuously keeps happening. Daniel Bryan is loved. He is beloved, and he listed more mistakes than Brie Bella has made. But no one gives him shit because they love him. When AJ Styles threw the back fist and literally removed a tooth from Miz's face, nobody cared because it was AJ Styles that did it. And nobody likes The Miz, so it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. Now, I know people aren't really like all about Liv Morgan right now, but she has her fair share of fans. This has nothing to do with a like for Liv Morgan. It has everything to do with a dislike for Brie. People don't like the Bellas. So anything that they do, all of a sudden, it can't be just a bad thing. Anything they do is the worst thing ever done in the history of human existence. If people had a choice to support Hitler and his cause or to support the careers of the Bellas, they would be yelling "Hi Hitler" faster than you can fucking blink. And that's just the way that people fucking are. For some reason, they just take it so fucking seriously that they have to go out of their way to purposely harm a fucking human being for an opinion that they have. It's an opinion. She's not safe in the ring. That is your opinion. It is not fact. She's been competing actively since 2006. That is a 12-year career. How many injuries are on her resume? That would be 0 up until last week. So, 1 injury in 12 years. She's unsafe. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're stating an opinion with no factual evidence. Even the kick to the face is not factual evidence to being unsafe, because unsafe, okay, the true definition of someone who is unsafe is a person who literally hurts an individual every fucking time out. Every time that person goes out there, he either injures them or puts them in a position to be injured practically every time. And that's not the case. She's got thousands of matches on her career resume with no injuries on them. So when you go on your social media and you say she's been unsafe her whole career, that's false. You're wrong. Now, because most of the times these sentences are structured, they say, I've always hated the Bellas, and then they say, ... she's always been unsafe. No. Excommunicate that entire last part and just stick to the first. I hate the Bellas. That's it. That's the truth. If you just said that, then you would be speaking in actuality. I don't like the Bellas. That's it. That's all you have to leave it at. Because you know what? Fandom. Fan is short for fanatic. Sports people say this shit all the time. Fan is short for fanatic. Okay? You can feel free to hate the Bellas. No one's going to give you any shit for that. I don't even care. Hate them. I don't like them that much either. I don't hate them, but I'm not that big a fan of their in-ring work. Okay? But this idea that they are these unsafe performers and blah, 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 blah. It's garbage and it is false. You know, remember when they tell you in school, like, oh, there's no such thing as a wrong opinion? That's incorrect. Because when you state the opinion as a fact, that's when it becomes wrong. If you said the sentence, I feel like sometimes they can be unsafe. Nothing wrong with that. Based on her work, if you were just to make the assumption that she's, you know, a little unsafe to work with and makes people a little cautionary, that's true. It could be true, I should say. It could be true. It could be false. It can go either way. That's a very solid opinion. You're basing it off of an educated guess. I'm with that. But when you don't know the person, you've never worked with the person, you've never spoken to anyone who's worked with the person, and you've never had a conversation of the person who's hired her and held her to her job for the last 12 years say the same thing as you, then you're wrong. That's how that works. You have to have fact to back up a factual statement. You're not stating a statement. You're making an opinionated thought. That's not the same thing. And it's a dangerous thing to fucking do. Because it's happening everywhere now. Everyone has an opinion and a thought. That's the shitty part about social media. Everyone, for years and centuries, people fought. They slaved. They worked so hard to give everybody a voice. And now we live in a world where literally everyone does. And it's the worst fucking thing in the world. It really is. And I know that's dumb coming from someone who's literally hosting a podcast right now, but it's the truth. There's so many fucking opinions and thoughts out there that it all meshes into one big blob. None of it means anything anymore. It means nothing. There were people who supported Brie Bella who were attacked viciously and blocked and deleted and reported, and it was so bad. So the whole end cyberbullying hashtag, I mean, people laugh at that, but you know what? It's fucking true. It's true. It really is true. It's cyberbullying is what it is. There's no doubt about that. As a matter of fact, cyberbullying, it's actually a huge part in what I'm about to talk about right now in the top news segment, if you will. As we're running close to the end of this show here, I want to do one last segment.
And now back to Action News 5. Our top story tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story.
I almost talked over my own fucking thing here. Yeah, we're going to continue talking about this cyberbullying stuff because this is a part of my top story here, and I understand the hypocrisy of what I am about to do. So let me just say that out the gate right now. The top news story of the evening is basically my main event of the show, and I know what I am about to say will counteract that a little bit. But let's be real here and let's talk about it. Everyone's been up in arms about a particular topic, and I gotta tell you, I'm torn. I'm kind of on both sides, but it's my show, and I don't want to be on both sides. I'm gonna try to be real and pick a side here. And not flip flop. I want to be straight up about it. But let's only play both sides for just a minute, just to explain the situation. So, for those of you who watched Monday Night Raw, and from what I understand, very few of you do, especially if you're listening to this show. But the main event, or should I say, the last segment of the show was reserved for the continuing feud between The Undertaker, Kane, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H, leading into this was the go-home show for their Super Show pay-per-view October 6th. So they left this little segment for last. It's a segment where Shawn Michaels comes out to discuss what his original plans were for Australia. Kane comes out, threatens to do the big choke slam. Taker comes out. We don't actually see Shawn take a physical bump, but when we come back, he is selling. And then Triple H comes out for the save. There's a big brawl ensuing. We get stereo choke slams, and then Taker tombstones Triple H, and that's pretty much the end of it. That's still a short version of a long, drawn-out situation. But the uproar is not about that, nor is it about Shawn Michaels' new haircut, which I am a fan of. I am a fan of, because I am also balding myself, so I kind of have to be a fan. My widow's peak is also showing same as his, so he probably just got tired of looking at that dude and just said, fuck it. I don't blame him. If you can't have all your hair, you might as well not have any. I've been considering shaving for a while myself, so I support it. Whatever, dude. Old man shit. I know these young pups out here, they don't get it yet. But we'll figure it out. Especially my old heads. You're like, oh my God, I feel so old. He cut all of his hair off. Dude, if you felt old because of that, then you're not really that old. Don't worry about it. When your back starts hurting for no reason and you start getting delusional shit, then we'll start worrying about your age, okay? Shawn Michaels' hair is not an indication of your level of death. Don't worry about it. You're going to be all right. But the uproar is not those things. The uproar instead is that this segment was the main event. Now, I can understand that. You know, you want to put your best foot forward. You want to put your top stars out there in the last segment of Raw. You want to go out with a bang, all right? And I can see the argument of people wanting younger stars in that position. I also see the argument on the other side of people latching on to the legends. I ran down just last week the ratings from back in the day. I mean, these guys are soldiers from a forgotten era, man. These are like World War II vets here. These guys went through the real shit. And this angle has been very interesting, believe it or not, considering it's a bunch of old guys in here just slapboxing each other. It's been pretty dope so far. They've been able to encapsulate a lot of that old school vibe. So I am kind of torn. I'm kind of in the middle between being an old school guy myself and understanding how the new school needs that opportunity. But something was said recently that made me decide to stand on a certain direction. I was kind of down the middle for a while until I heard this, and now I don't feel like being in the middle. I feel for a particular side now. And the thing that I heard is somebody was making a comparison. I wish I can give them credit, but I don't remember who said it. It wasn't a meme or anything. It was literally a group comment that I read that I thought was just very well thought out. And the idea is that this era, the Triple H, Taker, Shawn Michaels, Kane era, is the last era of the superstar. It really is. They're like the last living dinosaurs from the superstar era. You know, because the people that we see now in the WWE, let's be honest, they're not building these guys to be huge, pop culture, bigger than the company superstars. Not like before, when they had Stone Cold doing Nash Bridges and they had Bret Hart doing that Lonesome Dove shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're not trying to make something super, super huge. If anything, Vince is kind of, and I've never thought about this till literally just now, but if you think about it, it's kind of a higher budget ECW when you think about it, just in thought process, in perception. Because Paul created a bunch of stars, but he created it under one umbrella. He basically made them interchangeable parts. There were a lot of guys you can see. I mean, the main event pool in ECW was vast. You could have had 20 guys in the main event. You want to create stars because that's what drives business. But you know what? That was one of the first companies that they used to chant ECW. They used to chant the brand name, the company name. That was one of the first renditions of that. And they're not saying, people now are not chanting WWE, but it's kind of a similar thought process where, yeah, Roman Reigns might be the guy, but how many times have you seen the guy in his position? People say he's been forced down our throats. He's being forced down our throats. He hasn't done a whole lot of the things that people who are truly being shoved down your throats really do. Hogan was shoved down our throats. He was champion for like 8 million years. John Cena was pushed down our throats. Champion for 8 million years. Stone Cold didn't get 8 million years worth of reigns, but that was because he was in one of the greatest talent pools of all time. You had to change the belts around that point. But the fact remains, if you're the guy at the top of the card, you're wrestling the main event every night, you're wrestling for championships, you're wrestling in high-profile situations every single fucking time. There's no break from that. They've given Roman breaks. He's had feuds with lower-tier guys. He's opened shows. He's done everything but dark matches. He's the guy, but it seems almost like he's the guy by default, And there's so many other guys that are on that roster who are interchangeable with him. Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, we got Braun Strowman now. They're building up McIntyre. They're building up Ziggler. It's a brand. The WWE is a brand. It's a banner at this point where we can send you a bunch of different people, and it'll have the same fucking effect. It's not like before where it was Stone Cold Steve Austin and then the WWE. Or The Rock, and then he's a WWE superstar. That's how, if you think about it, look at the verbiage. Back in the day, people used to say the name, right? They used to say, ladies and gentlemen, our guest tonight, Hulk Hogan from the WWE, from the WWF. Or it'll say, tonight, the Macho Man Randy Savage, that WWF wrestler. Stone Cold Steve Austin from the WWE. Now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome WWE superstar Dean Ambrose. You noticed that? You didn't notice that before I just said that, didn't you? Yeah, that's my point. The whole mentality has shifted. They don't make stars anymore. They make superstars, WWE superstars, but they don't make stars anymore. And why don't they make stars? Is it because they can't get over? Bullshit. You take the handcuffs off these guys, you let them do what they do, they'd get over. They'd get over huge. But they handcuff them for a fucking reason. You know why? Because they don't really want stars. Did you ever think about that? They don't want stars. You know why? Stars cost money. Hello. Why do you think NXT exists? Why do you think all these indie stars are coming in? What, to appease you? Did you really think that's what it was? Why do you think these people had a complete 180 on independent wrestling stars coming into WWE? Do you think it was because they had a change of heart? Because they've seen the light? Because people finally convinced them what was going on outside of the WWE bubble? Fuck no. If you're an independent wrestling star, for Christ's sake, you've got no shelf life left. Before, that's what used to scare them away. Because they say, well, how can I have a commodity? They were so used to having guys on the roster for 10, 15, 20 years, they just felt that's what was necessary. I'm going to get a young guy. He's going to be here for 20 years, hitting home runs for me. That's not how it happens anymore. They realized really fast, we don't need that. If I can get a guy in here for 3 or 4 strong years and make as much money off of him as I possibly can, I'm fine with that. That's why the WWE has changed they've changed the complete mantra around. They don't care if they make a star. They just need enough talent and enough product to sell to keep the millions coming in. That's it. It's a swinging door, a rotating system of just people coming in. Why do you think they were so desperate to get a deep talent pool? We were just talking about this the other day, that wrestling right now, Attitude Era versus Current Era last week. I was saying last week, in the Current Era, this is the deepest talent roster it's ever been, and it's the deepest roster by almost 3 times the normal amount. Why do you think that is? Why do you think they hired UK guys for no reason? They just made an NXT UK. These guys have been on the roster for 2 years. Why do you think that is? Why do you think they went into a European hotbed and just bought all the talent they could? Why do you think they're buying Japanese talent? Why do you think they're buying Mexican talent? Why do you think they're going into all the places they swore they would never go? Hire all the indie guys they swore they would never hire. Why do you think they're interchangeable parts? There are no superstars right now. None whatsoever. None that crossover. The closest you can think of is maybe Brock Lesnar. And I don't want to hear, well, a lot of these guys do commercials and they've had guest star situations in movies. That's not it. That's not it. You can do these things, but it's not true crossover appeal. It's not long-lasting, powerful one. There are people who know shit about wrestling, who know dick about wrestling, who know who the Macho Man is, who know who Stone Cold Steve Austin is, who knows, the Ultimate Warrior to this day. I hear old heads all the time, and I grew up with Bruno Sammartino. These are the people that are significant to their lives. This generation of people are not going to have that. They'll have their favorites, but they're more hooked to the brand of WWE. So when it comes back to this main event, and I said this conversation made me think about landing on a particular side as to who should have gotten that main event slot. Did the old timers deserve it? You know what? I landed on the old timers getting it. That's what ended up happening for me. And you know why? Because it falls in line with the current thought process. That's why I didn't care. I ended up not caring that the old guys got that slot, because what does it matter? It's all interchangeable parts. The main event scene changes every fucking night. The women's title has the main event. The tag titles have the main event. The World's Heavyweight Championship may or may not have the. I've seen may or may not have the main event. I've seen the WWE Championship come on, a WWE title match come on the second hour or the first hour. I've seen this. There's no rhyme or reason to it anymore. Before, you knew every episode was going to start with Steve Austin. It's going to end with Steve Austin. Every episode was going to start with Hulk Hogan. It's going to end with Hulk Hogan. That's not the format today. That's not it. They've changed it. It's an interchangeable brand. Whatever we feel like throwing over there is what's going to happen. They're not paying for the star anymore. They're paying for the show overall. It's like it's like a concert. I could change the set list all I want. It doesn't matter. They came to see me. Same deal. People pay to see the WWE. They're not paying to see the individual anymore. They're just not. You may have your favorites, but your favorites are different from everybody else's favorites. Not everybody's a Rusev fan. You might be a Rusev fan. Not everybody's a Seth Rollins fan. You could be, and don't tell me that everyone's a Seth Rollins fan, because that's bullshit. I've seen a bunch of people who claim that this guy is completely overrated. That's the point. No one's on the same page. So, since no one's on the same page, we're just going to throw the spackle on there and see what the fuck happens. That's it. So at first, my gut told me, yeah, the young guys should get it. But you know what? The young guys are going to get it next week. And the week after that, we'll see who gets it. And then rotating and back and forth. That's the way that this thing works now. Absolutely 100%. It's interchangeable. They could open with Taker and the Brothers of Destruction against DX. They can close with it. And will it really fuck up the flow of the show at this point? No. That's why everybody keeps telling me, like, this show needs to get better. It's not very good. But you know what? With everything that's been going on, all the money they've been making, there's not a whole lot that's going to change, guys. Not a whole lot. All right. And it's sad that I have to sit here and explain to people that, they're not trying to make stars, because we all grew up with a different format. This is some new age shit. They don't really give a fuck about making a star that crosses over. A mainstream pop culture star. They'd rather just be the star themselves. The WWE is the hot ticket. You know, a lot of these guys who are stars, everyone that I named, you know what they did in the end? They used those contracts. They used their star power to manipulate the WWE. And before, back in the day, Vince was a shark. He used to go in there and he'd fight it. He'd do whatever. It was a challenge to him. It was fun. It's not fun anymore. He's in what? He's in his 800s at this point. He doesn't really give a shit about the contracts. Sign whoever to whatever the fuck was. Let's just make some money off this guy so we can be done with this motherfucker. That's it. That's it. Think of the way that Raw and SmackDown runs right now. If you flip-flop the Raw, if you flip-flop the show completely, because I forgot what was the opening segment to that fucking Raw, but it doesn't matter. If you flipped it and you opened with the Brothers of Destruction and DX and then closed it with whatever the opening segment was, would the flow of the show really be that off? No, because it's a cookie cutter fucking show. All you're doing is just spinning the cookie cutter. It's still going to come out the same fucking shape. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many times you rotate that fucker. It's still going to be the same fucking shape. So I don't really, you know what? My gut instinct, I had a problem because you don't want to take a spot, but they're not taking a spot. Everyone who's on that show already has a spot. You're just moving pieces around. Seriously. And it was the go-home show for a pay-per-view that's happening this fucking Saturday. You know? So I'm sorry. I had to land on the old guys for this one because who gives a shit at this point? Seriously. Even the 4 guys in the ring, like, how much are you really buying this show? Or excuse me, if you have a subscription, it's different. But are you really becoming a new subscriber to the show to see this match? Probably not. So let's live and let live, folks. All right, this is the best that we could do. All right. So next week, guys, remember next week, October 11th, on a Thursday, October 11th. 7 to 9 p.m. Orsini's Uncensored Mind will be live, ladies and gentlemen, live. And I'll be taking your calls. So you're going to see me, I'm going to be pretty heavily promoting this shit all fucking week. I'm hoping my friends and family will help me do so. It's my first my first call-in show. I really kind of want to get this one off the ground really, really good. So, guys, please feel free to chime in and call, comment, all kinds of shit, bro, and gals. Seriously, this is going to be a fun fucking time. I'm trying really hard to contain myself, but it's going to be really great, guys. So, tune in next week, Thursday, October 11th. Okay, guys? Thursday, October 11th. 1 year anniversary. And I wouldn't be here without you guys. So when I say this ending line, I really fucking mean it from the bottom of my fucking heart. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for sharing. And again, thank you guys for enjoying. Check out the free t-shirt raffle, y'all.
At my house, listen to my daddy so. Or see the extra line.